right, hello, this is Chef Lewis, and I've had some requests to explain some things on the recipe costing sheet for you guys. And I've done some videos, and it occurred to me today that maybe a really good way to do this would be to take the most common error and show you how to fix it. So that is what we're going to do. I have a template, a recipe card template filled out, and I'm going to walk you through how to determine the extended price on the school provided recipe costing template. Let's get started. This is the standardized recipe template that is provided for you on the portal, and attached to this is the original. This is the recipe costing sheet that you have. As you can see, we've put in a recipe for it. There's the name. Here are the ingredients. We have the quantity and the unit of measure that it is in. Then we have the purchase pack. That is the size of the bag, box, carton, jug that the item is going to come in. Then we have the purchase price for the package that we're talking about. Then we have the unit cost, and this is the price per whatever, pound, box, pound, etc., etc. The extended price is the price um, that it's the price that it costs for this recipe's amount of that specific ingredient. And we determine that with the purchase price and the purchase pack and the unit cost. First thing I'm going to do is we're going to be adding some columns to help explain things. So I'm going to shorten this line, this column for column A. I'm going to shorten it so that we have a little bit more space to work with. You can see what I did right there. We've just shortened it. All the information has stayed the same. The next thing that we're going to do is, we're going to talk about the extension cost. On this recipe template sheet that you have, these cells, this column is linked to these cells. So when we change numbers in here, they automatically adjust to the numbers down here. So what I'm going to do is to show you guys another way to figure out how to measure the cost for this and how to change the numbers in here so they automatically adjust down here and your work will be correct. Something that I find easier to do is to go ahead and to put everything in ounces. So instead of measuring 1 cup, let's change that. Let's convert that into how many ounces 1 cup of flour is. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be adding a column right here for our recipe weight amount expressed in ounces. And when we do that, that's what we have right there. Now, in order to convert 1 cup of all-purpose flour into ounces, to find out how to do that, very, very simple. All I'm going to do is say, hey Google, how many ounces are in 1 cup of all-purpose flour?
4¼ ounces. On the website kingarthurbaking.com, they say, a cup of all-purpose flour weighs 4¼ ounces or 120 grams. This chart is a quick reference for volume, ounces, and grams equivalencies for common ingredients.
So we're going to continue to use Google or Siri or whatever you want to use to convert everything in here into ounces. So when you ask Google, hey, what does 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda weigh in ounces? It's going to tell you, uh, it's going to tell you it is 0.05 ounces. Okay, so it's that simple. You can ask Google, you can look up most of them. You can do it on your phone. Now we're going to convert. I'm going to go ahead and convert the rest of the items from their unit of measure, which is mostly volume, into ounces. So now we have everything in ounces except for the eggs. That's measured by the each, but that's okay because our eggs are sold by the dozen, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. All right, so we have all of our quantities for our ingredients measured in ounces now, which is what we wanted to do. And we want to add next we're going to add the units column expressed in ounces. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to be adding that right here. And there it is. Easy peasy. And now we're going to calculate the cost per ounce. So what I'm going to be trying to do, what I'm going to be doing is converting our unit cost. Instead of 22 cents a pound, I want to know how much flour is going to be per ounce. In order to do that, we're going to take 0.22 cents per pound. There are 16 ounces in a pound, so that it's 0.22 divided by 16, which is going to be 0.01375 or 0.02. Okay, let's go ahead and calculate this for all of them. And this is what we get. So we divide 1.41, $1.41 by 24 ounces, and that gives us a nickel and a little bit more per ounce. Same thing, it is 20 cents a pound, so we're going to divide 0.20 or 20 cents by 16, etc., etc., etc. Now, just to make things easy, since we're talking about money here, I'm going to round everything to the penny. So we're going to round up or round down. Most of the time we're going to be rounding up. This is just to make it easier to follow and understand while we're doing this. So you will think of this automatically in terms of money. Okay? Now, the next thing that we're going to do is now to add the ingredient amount cost for this recipe. If we have all-purpose flour that cost 1 cent an ounce and we need 4.25 ounces in this recipe, how do we determine how to do that? We're going to add our column right here. This is our extension that we're talking about. These are the numbers for our extension prices for this recipe that are off, and this is the extension or the cost for this recipe for that specific item. How do we calculate that? How do we determine? We determine it, it's very, very simple. We multiply the amount in ounces times the cost unit in ounce, and that will give us the cost for this recipe in ounces. And so once we do all of that, that is going to, we multiply times our unit cost per ounce, boom, 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 and that is going to give us our calculated prices. So all-purpose flour, 1 cup, which is what's in this recipe, costs us about a nickel, a little bit less than a nickel for this recipe. We're using less than a penny's worth of baking soda, less than a penny's worth of salt, etc., etc. I'm going to do the same thing that we did over here. I'm going to round these numbers into the nearest penny, to show that, to make it easier so that we consider this money, which is what it is, so that we're not looking at all kind of weird numbers. We're looking at rounded to the penny, okay? Now, we have done everything here but the eggs. Now, our eggs, we could either convert that into ounces and then get the price per ounce for the eggs, or we can keep it simple and do it by the each. To do that, 3 eggs. How much are eggs? 1 dozen eggs, 12 eggs, cost $1.36. So 136 by the dozen. When we divide $1.36 by 12, we get 11 cents plus a little bit more per egg. Okay, then if we need 3 eggs at this price, then 3 times 0.1133 is going to be 34 cents. And we're going to attach that right there. So now we have the cost for all of our items in this recipe for these amounts. Okay? When I clean this up, just to make it easier to follow, now we have this. All right, let's talk about how the cells are linked now. The cells here in the extension in this worksheet is set up so that when we change numbers here, they will automatically change down here. This is already set up to calculate it for you. So we need to move these numbers into this column. How do we do that? We're going to cut and paste. To cut and paste, we're going to left click what you want to copy, drag release, right click, click on copy or Control C, left click and drag where you want to put it, then release, right click on paste or Control V. Now, when we copy, we're going to be moving this information into the linked cells that are here. When I copy, I need to cut and paste all of our numbers. So I'm going to click here, drag down, release, click here, drag down, and then click on paste. So let's do that. We click, left click, drag everything, release, right click, copy. Now we put it where we want it to go. We're going to right click, drag all the way down, release, left click, right click, and paste. And as we do that, all of our numbers change. Now we have the correct numbers for this recipe. Now what we'll need to do is we'll need to go back in and adjust these numbers now because they are a little bit off. The price from me, we need to adjust that up so we can get a bigger profit in there. We can talk about that later. So here are our new adjusted numbers for that. Okay, I hope you understood that. I hope that helps. And look for more exciting videos. Great, thanks. Happy calculating.